Welcome to the first ever Chew on This Reminisces on Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
So our reminiscing episodes, we thought it'd be cool to just go back and reminisce about movies that we loved. And this popped up. Why? I can't remember why we thought this.
Well, for one thing, I think this is the 20th year anniversary of this movie.
Okay.
And it just kind of came up in conversation. And then we thought, shit, we haven't watched this movie in a really long time, and it's one of our favorites. So we started talking about the movie, and then we said, whoa, stop talking about it. Let's just watch it, and then we'll reminisce on it on a podcast. We thought that's a great idea. So anyway, this is a new segment. This is our first ever reminisce, and so this is Chew on This Reminisces on Austin Powers, their International Man of Mystery.
So when this movie came out, it didn't really do well in the box office at all.
No, I think it topped out at like around $50 million. But then, that was where DVDs became really popular.
Started to, yeah.
Because I remember this was one of the first DVDs I bought. I think I bought like the James Bond one, Tomorrow Never Dies or something like that. And then I bought this one, and then countless others like Fifth Element and whatnot. But this movie, I mean, interestingly enough, was... let's see, Mike Myers had already been on SNL for a while, and he made it big with Wayne's World and all that stuff. And one of my other favorite movies of his is So I Married an Axe Murderer, because it's super silly. But this movie was really funny because it's like this ultra funny take on James Bond, but with his flavor. I mean, I think he grew up in Canada, but he had a lot of British like influences, and so there's a lot of Benny Hill in this. There's a lot of James Bond references, but it's really silly, and it doesn't apologize for it. It's extremely funny. So we actually just watched this together not that long ago. So what are some of the things that really stood out for you when you first watched this movie?
All the stupid quotes I used to fucking say in everyday life.
Do I make you horny, baby? Do I?
Yeah. Or what's the other one? First, I plan to soil myself. Then think and come up with a new plan. Or we've done this one before. Please allow myself to introduce myself. A lot of quotable lines in this movie. There's really nothing really like it. The comedy comes at you in a different way. What again stands out about this movie is there was really nothing like it around this time frame.
No, and there wasn't. It's not like I don't know if you could even say a parody or something, but it's like
it is like
in a way, but it's not like the Zucker brothers doing Airplane or Naked Gun, where it's completely over the top silly. It has its moments where it's a little over the top, but it makes fun of the spy genre. You know, it kind of pokes fun at it.
Yeah, but not in the Zuckerberg way.
Or Zuckerberg. I don't think Facebook wasn't even cum in his scrotum at that point. But what's really cool about this movie, I mean, like I said, it really makes fun of, or it takes the Benny Hill stuff, like the dance sequences, like out of nowhere, like the very beginning. I think of each Austin Power movie has some sort of like big dance number, and this one kind of starts that off with the dance number. The other thing that I noticed from this movie is that he uses the same James Bond mold in that he has a different female for every movie, and in this movie he actually ends up having two, because in the 60s he was hanging with what was her name now? Oh my God, I can't remember the agent's name. But anyway, it's played by Mimi Rogers, looking like really good in that like black leather suit, kind of like.
But he
Emma
never
Peel.
gets with her though.
No, he never does.
Right.
I mean, ultimately the female lead is Elizabeth Hurley. But what I like about the Austin Powers is like they went a step further to James Bond, and they actually did like time traveling elements. I think in this one there wasn't time travel, but it was cryogenically frozen himself to go after Dr. Evil, which we found out. So we found out some tidbits today.
Oh, right.
about Doctor Evil and where he came from, the character. But apparently, and I think you were that mentioned this, that there was a long going feud between Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, who they were both together doing Wayne's World, and they were both on Saturday Night Live. But I guess when Dana Carvey watched Austin Powers, he was like, "This is eerily familiar," and basically it was like Dana Carvey had made fun of Lorne Michaels on SNL with the whole pinky up to the lip kind of thing, and doing all this, like making fun of him. And when he watched Austin Powers, he saw Mike Myers do that, and he was like, "Wait a minute!" And so there was kind of like this. I don't know. It was really a quiet feud, though, but very little people knew about it. But last year, like around November, I think Dana Carvey was on a talk show, and the guy asked him about it, and he full on like explained that they had this feud. Just thought that was like, that blew my mind. I was like, "Whoa, no way!" I didn't know freaking Garth and Wayne were like fighting and stuff. But so you remember a little movie called Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah, and Wesley Snipes.
Which is that? I mean, when we did our guilty pleasure movie podcast a long time ago, that would have been a guilty pleasure movie too, as well, because it's cheesy as hell.
That was actually on my list that I didn't say.
We didn't get to talk about. Oh shoot! Well, we'll have to talk about that.
Spoilers
next
for
time.
that episode.
Yeah, exactly, for future episode. But at the very beginning of Austin Powers, they make fun of the cryo chamber. They totally borrow it from Demolition Man, and as they're walking through the cryo chamber, you see Gary Coleman is frozen,
Vanilla
Ice, and I guess freezing him until he becomes relevant again. But then they had that the different stages of thawing him. That was just you kind of knew after that you were in for like a really silly movie, because like the computer even says start the hot goo stage, and like he melts, and then then it blow dries him, and of course he's got like yak hair or something on his chest. I don't know what the hell that is. And then of course Benny Hill always has a lot of peeing jokes. And so, he does the whole peeing joke, and you were laughing. We were both laughing really hard when he goes to get his effects.
The penis pump,
which comes back like 2 or 3 different times.
Yeah.
It's like an ongoing joke. But it's so funny because he's like, one Burt Bacharach album won this, won that. And he's like, one Swedish penis pump. And he's like, "That's not mine, baby." And he's like, one credit card receipt for a penis pump. And he's like, "No, maybe that's not my bag, baby." And he's like, one book written by Austin Powers saying the penis pump is my bag, baby, by Austin Powers. Right in front of the girl, too. And she's just like, "Really?"
Oh man, I've forgotten how funny this movie is, and I again used to quote it all the time, and I used to watch it all the time, and it's been a really long time since I've seen this movie, and watching it again, it's fucking brilliant. Dr. Evil's great too.
I didn't really realize it, and I'm so stupid. I didn't realize it till you pointed it out, but like Will Ferrell's in this movie. And his name is like Mustafa or something like that. And Vic, you're like, he's a fucking Indian. He's like brown face. And I was like, shit, you're right. But he's only in it for like literally 30 seconds because he hits the button and he falls down the hole into the fire.
I mean, Will Ferrell comes back as a different henchman every time, I think, in each movie. Right?
No, I think he does come back as Mustafa because the time traveling thing, he wasn't dead yet.
Oh,
I think in the second movie, he falls off a cliff and breaks both his legs. But in this movie, like Dr. Evil hits a button and he falls down the hole and gets burnt. And Dr. Evil is trying to continue the meeting, and all you hear is Will Ferrell's like, "Hello, I'm badly burned. Someone help me." And he finally picks up the red phone. And he's like, "Will you do something about this?" You hear a gunfire, and then he's like,
"I can't believe you shot me."
There's like all these long pauses in this movie and all these awkward moments, and then they just continue on. It's fucking funny. Really super silly. But like they're introducing everyone around the round table. Like there's Patty O'Brien, which he's
Lucky Charms.
Don't mess with my Lucky Charms. He's got Frau Verbissina, who like yells out all the every time she needs something done, she yells it. and then the big guy that looks like Odd Job, they call him Random Task.
I love like the subtle stupidity of certain parts in this movie. Like towards the end of the movie where he's in that like clear plastic suit and he puts his arms on his waist, but the whole suit moves up and he can't get the right pose no matter how he's standing. And then because it's like you're basically wearing like the plastic covering, the equivalent of like your grandmother's plastic covering on the couch. He goes to sit in that leather chair and he fucking slides right off of it. or when he gives the cat to Random Task, and because of the way he gave the cat to Random Task, he's pulling his arm, and the chair that he's sitting in is actually on wheels, and he pulls him off camera. So
he's got to reel himself back. It's so funny. The other thing that they do really well in these Austin Powers movies is when they when he's nude, he always has these like product placements in the right spot so that you can't see his dick or his butt or something like that. So like, you know, or even with I think with Elizabeth Hurley's character at the end, she's like picking up cantaloupes and they're perfectly right above her, right in front of her breasts. That's all like taken from Benny Hill. You know, all that stuff is taken from Benny Hill. And they do it even funnier, I think, in Spy Who Shagged Me. The whole opening sequence is like that. And then, of course, one of the things I really like about the Austin Power movies is that he always has a different, like, musical act, I think, in each movie. And so, like, this one, he had Burt Bacharach and, you know, playing music. And he always introduces him. You know, so he breaks the fourth wall and introduces him and stuff like that. The other thing in this movie really made me laugh is every time he sees he's like, you know, that's a man baby. Like someone who looks like semi-male who's a female. He starts beating on him. Like Basil Exposition's, you know, mom. He's like, that's my mom. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. What are some of the things? One thing that was a little bit heartbreaking about the movie is that there is a scene in it, and I had completely forgotten. But Carrie Fisher is in this movie. And she plays like the therapist that is supposed to like try to help out Dr. Evil and Scott.
Itself, too.
Yeah,
he's like, oh, I think sometimes he's trying to kill me, and Carrie Fisher's like, no, sometimes it just feels like that. And Dr. Evil's like, no, I've been trying to kill him.
He's pretty perceptive.
He's found to be pretty resilient.
Well, she like asks him. She's like, would you like talk about a little bit about yourself? He's like, oh, I don't think you want to go there, you know. And he's just like, you know, talking weird shit. Like my dad would say crazy things like he invented the question mark. Who invented the question mark?
I always think of when somebody says something like that, I don't know why, I always think back to Roby and Michelle.
Oh,
when he invented the
Post-its.
stick the glue and Post-its.
Yeah. And of course, Jean Garofalo's like smart. She's like, no, it was like such and such name in 3M. You know, he'd say like in the springtime we'd make meat helmets. Like what the fuck? We'd wrap each other in burlap sacks and beat each other up for some shit.
And then he's like, it's quite standard.
It's quite standard. It's quite lovely. Yeah. In every movie he makes it a point to say magma. I don't know why. That's really? So funny. Yeah, because even in the second, in the second movie, he's got the volcano hideout.
Oh, right.
I don't know if he says it in the third one, but he always says liquid hot magma. Always talks about sharks with freaking lasers on their heads, and oh god, so in this movie, he's got like this pit. He's like, we're slowly gonna lower Austin Powers into the pit, and you know, it's an easily escapable situation, you know, and
which is every like bad guy, every action movie you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, they monologued too long enough for him to escape, you know, and Scott's the only voice of reason. He's just like, no, just fucking bust a cap in his head right now, just kill him. And he's like, leave the you know, the evil business to me, kiddo. But like he says what, you know, like who's number two? It's Robert Wagner.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we couldn't get the lasers on the sharks. You know, so, well, what do we have? He's like, we have mutated sea bass or something like that. He's like, are they ill-tempered?
He's like, that's a start.
That's a start. And of course, that's where he starts. You know, in every movie, when he's around the round table and Scott starts talking, he does a shh, you know, And I think in the second movie it was Zip It, zipit.com or some shit.
What was the third? That was the
Third one was like Scotty Doon,
Oh, right,
something
right,
like
right.
that.
Right.
And he always references like stuff that's already happened. He does that a lot in Spy Shag Me with Preparation H. He's like, we went through preparations A through G and they were unsuccessful, but Preparation H was successful. So, on the whole, Preparation H is pretty good.
This movie was so fun to watch. Like, I want to watch the second one right away.
Yeah, actually, I mean, absolutely. The fucking the fembots were great. In every action movie, you have like this bomb that's about to go off, and they always like hit it right when it says like 1 second or something like that. But in this movie, there's actually this huge like abort button on the wall. He just jumps up and hits it.
Yeah, what is it doing on like? It's like above the door frame.
Yeah, and it looked like it was just taped on the wall. Like they didn't have much budget, for this movie.
It's pretty funny. Like the subtle things are the really funniest things in this movie. Like, what was the one where Dr. Evil kept asking for shit and asking for stuff, and they didn't have it or whatever, and then he just like shit. Like it's just like the way he says shit is fucking funny as hell.
Well, he leaves for 30 years, and when he like wakes up, his empire is like making billions of dollars, and he doesn't care. He's just like, I just want to do evil, and Robert Wagner's like, hey, we're making all kinds of money. He's like, this factory does this factory does that. He's like, this factory makes the model factories that you see here, and he's like, great. He's like, let's do this, and we'll ask for $1 million, and he's like, that's not a lot of money. He's like, this factory alone makes $9 billion a year.
Isn't like in one of the next ones where he just makes up a number and they laugh at him?
He's like 1 gazillion, bazillion, zillion dollars, and they're all like, there's not enough. We don't even have enough money in the world, and he's all laughing at him. Yeah, that was Tim Robbins playing the president at that time. Yeah, when you're talking about subtle things, like when all the shit's hitting the fan and number two's trying to escape. He's got like this briefcase, and you can see like these legs hanging out of it and the hair sticking out of it. He's like, he's taking one home.
He's bringing home a sex doll. or when they're playing blackjack, and he holds on like 7 or something like that.
Well, like number 2 has that like infrared thing on his patch, and he sees.
But he's got like 21, right?
No, yeah, he's got a 17. He's showing 17, but the card he's looking at with the X-ray says 4, and he's like, "Hit me," and the guy's like, "You want to hit on a 17?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm living dangerously," or something like that, and like he gets a 4, and then Austin Powers gets like I don't know, it was
7.
like a 2 and a 3 or something,
Yeah,
and he's
like a
like,
5 or a
he's
7.
like, "Hold," and he's like, "What? You should be hitting." He's like, "I also like to live dangerously," and he fucking loses all his money. Which is the opposite of James Bond,
Yeah, because James Bond would have found a way to like either tie or win.
Yeah, and win big. He just loses a bunch of money.
He thinks living dangerously is to hold on like a 5 or a 7.
Which came one of the funniest scenes in the movie right after that, because he follows number 2 into the bathroom. And he's sitting, and he doesn't see him. And then he like goes, I got to go to the bathroom. So he goes and sits down, and Tom Arnold is in the next stall next to him. And wasn't he like an assassin trying to kill him or something like that?
From behind, it was the Lucky Charms guy.
Yeah. And of course, another Benny Hill type situation where he's yelling, he's like just grunting. And Tom Arnold's next door going, "Get a hold of that turd, boy." It's like, you're going to blow an O-ring out. You don't grunt so hard.
And then he's like dunking him. And
who does number 2 work for?
It sounds like he's taking like a nasty shit. and Tom Arnold goes, "Hey, how about a courtesy flush?"
He opens the stall door and he's like, "Jesus, son, what did you eat?" It's just a guy sitting in the toilet. Well, because like later on, instead of playing with words, they would do like like shadow puppetry and stuff. Like you would see them talking in the tent with the light on, and it looks like they're doing horrendous shit. Like she's shoving a racket up his ass, or like
Or he pulled the racket out.
pull the racket out, and potatoes are falling out,
No,
and they think he's taking a
balls.
dump. Yeah, yeah, balls. Yeah, it's so funny. Or like, oh, that canister falls and opens up, and all this gas comes out. It looks like he like farted or something like that. It's super funny, and they do it again, I think, in Goldmember.
Yeah, they use
with
Mini-Me with his he looked like a dick.
It was his arm, like
Starts eating him like an apple. It looked like his dick was. Yeah, it looked like the dick was eating an apple. I gotta watch all these movies now.
Oh my god, it's super funny. But there was some really a lot of silly things. Like one of the things that made me laugh was the super silly. He's like driving this little like cart, and he drops off the Elizabeth Hurley. She's like, "You go there. I'll go get Dr. Evil." And he's sitting in the cart, and he's trying to turn it around, and there's only enough space to literally. I mean, he's just like going forward and back and forward and back, and he's not getting anywhere. But it's so funny to watch. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like he should have just got out and pushed it,
Just went in reverse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It just went,
It just went in reverse until he could fucking turn around.
Yeah. But it's so stupid.
He gets
stuck. Totally stuck, and he.
I wonder if they had to actually lower that vehicle into that spot. Because there's no way to actually get it into that spot.
No, there isn't. Because literally it's like an inch on either side. And he's just going bam, bam, bam. Oh my God. It just kills me thinking about it. It's so stupid. That had to have been a fun set. I mean, I can't imagine like filming that movie and you're like the camera operator and you're not fucking dying. You're not peeing your pants watching that shit, because you never see really Mike Myers break character, but I can imagine everybody else fucking dying off screen.
Right.
Watching how silly this shit is. Because like you were saying before, I think off air, is Dr. Evil's like the best character out of all, out of the series. I mean, every movie he just tops himself, and he does like just the stupidest shit. I think in The Spy Who Shagged Me, he actually he goes back in time and gets it on with Frau Verbissina. That part was so funny because he's like, he drinks, swigs out of that 40 and then he spills it. He's like, one for me and one for my homies.
That's
now
that's
let's
how
get
you
it
find
on.
out how Seth,
how Scotty got.
made,
yeah. He's like, oh, Scott is this, is the love child from them. That's hilarious. But no, the movie's still, I mean, it's 20 years old. It still holds up. And it's still kind of like, it's a little bit depressing in that you really want an Austin Powers 4. I mean, for the longest time.
Because Scott finally takes over.
Yeah, he finally takes over. He finally gets the lasers on the freaking, on the lasers on the shark's head and all that shit at the end. Everything kind of comes full circle. But you never get to see him actually fight against, Dr. Evil. But interestingly enough, I think Goldmember came out like 2002 or something like that. And I went to my very first Comic-Con in 2005, and I met Seth Green, and I asked him. He worked for Top Cow at that time, or he was like working with them. He made the Freshman comic book, which is really awesome. God, I wish they would make a TV Netflix series out of the Freshman. It's ripe right now, with all that superhero shit, and it's such a good story. But anyway, I asked Seth Green, while he was autographing my comic book, I was like, dude, any word on Austin Powers 4? It's been like 3 years. And he's just like, no, we're just waiting on Mike Myers and the script. And like, that's all he said. And that's all he's been saying for the last 10 years. But there's been some rumblings recently, really? I think. A little bit. Yeah. I mean, it kind of comes and goes. Mike Myers is kind of one of these really weird, like he
stopped after this movie.
Yeah, he just he did The Love Guru, which was terrible. The one thing I did laugh about that movie is Mariska Hargitay. He kept saying that as like a chant. Mm-hmm. Mariska Hargitay, who's on Law and Order SVU.
Yeah.
And then like he actually runs into her in the movie. And he's like, Mariska Hargitay. It was pretty funny. I don't know. I guess that was the one joke that semi paid off at the end. But Austin Powers, the jokes are like a mile a minute, and they do like kind of do throwbacks to some of the jokes, and makes the jokes even funnier. Like it's just a really clever made comedy. And we were talking also offline about how this particular movie, it didn't do well in the box office, but when DVD came out, it became this huge. A lot of people bought it, a lot of people followed it, and that made them make the second one, which made more money in the first weekend than the first one did completely. Um, do you remember the second movie, the commercial for it? Like it was like a black chair, and you see the back of the chair, and you hear this like deep voice like that, and you're kind of thinking, because 1999 was the year Episode 1 came out,
Yeah.
and so there was like this weird trailer, and you're like, what is this? Like, I don't think that can't be Star Wars. And then the chair turns around, and it's Dr. Evil, and he's like, ugh,
Yeah, I remember that trailer.
Yeah, it was really
It was a good
funny,
trailer,
and
yeah.
like it surprised the hell out of me. I was
A lot
like,
of
what?
people were playing off Star Wars that year.
Yeah, but see, that's when the internet kind of really took off. Like those movie, like Ain't It Cool News and ComingSoon.net, I think really like those all popped up.
It was Dark Horizons.
Dark Horizon, yeah, all that year just started popping up, those websites. And so they didn't, I had no idea they were making a second Austin Powers until I saw that trailer, and it just like, oh my God, that's awesome. And the series just got, better. I think Goldmember might be the weakest of the three, but it had a lot of funny jokes in that too.
Yeah, it's probably the weakest out of the three, but it had some of the funniest moments too, especially because of Mini Me.
Oh my God, Vern Troyer is like genius.
When they do the fun, is it the third one where they do the song?
Yes, when they're in jail.
Yeah.
But like he defects and starts working with Austin Powers.
Right.
Like he starts like dressing like him. Yeah, yeah. You find out it's his brother. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Dougie or whatever. I'm Dougie. And of course they introduce what is it as his dad?
Michael Caine.
Oh yeah, so fucking great. That was pretty genius. But Goldmember himself was really fucking lame.
He was not.
He was a character from Saturday Night Live.
He was not as good as because Fat Bastard was the second creation of the second movie.
Yeah. He tried to top Fat Bastard, and he just can't do it.
No.
Although at the very end of Goldmember, when Fat Bastard showed up and he was all skinny, he's like, "My neck looks like a vagina." He's like, he's all eating Subway like Jared. He got all like skinny and shit. Didn't Jared become like a pedophile or some fucking shit?
Yeah, let's not segue into that.
That is sad shit. What a moron. What a golden ticket. You're making millions of dollars off Subway, and you like look at child stuff. That's horrible. Fucking dick. Burn in hell. Anyway, I don't know why I went there, but Austin Powers is the anti-Subway, anti-Jared. But
this episode is brought to you by Subway.
Subway.
Jared who?
We don't. Jared who?
That's their tagline.
Yeah, there you go.
You're welcome, Subway.
Yeah. We're never getting any other spokesmodel ever again. Oh God, I think the best like Subway commercial I saw was like in Happy Gilmore. And we needed to make that. He needed to make that extra.
That was
money.
when those dumb fucks were still cutting the bread all fucked up.
Oh, I hated that. They cut that little strip off the top.
Yeah, that's why I stopped. Like I went into, I never knew that they did that, and then I went into a Subway once. I was working. And I was like, oh, this is the only thing here. I didn't want anything else. So the guy gives me the sandwich. I'm like, what are you doing to my bread?
Why aren't you cutting the bread in half, you dick?
Yeah. I'm like, why are you cutting a triangle out of the top? He's like, that's how we cut it here. I'm like, why? Why? And I don't even. And that was the last time I ate from them.
I hated it because when you ate the sandwich, you didn't have a top after like 2 bites.
I mean, seriously, if you didn't cut it into a perfect triangle, like the shit was going everywhere. Do you remember a commercial like from them that says like Subway? Now we're cutting the bread right. Like,
That'd be a great commercial right now. Well, no, it's 20 years, 15 years
Well,
too
when
late.
did they
but
start cutting it right?
I don't know because for the
I
longest
stopped
time I
eating because
stopped
of it.
going there.
Yeah.
I just saw the way they cut my bread.
Here's
I
how
was like,
fucking traumatic that is. Here's how traumatic that was to me. I still remember what I bought.
really?
Yeah, it was a grill. It was a chicken. It was a grilled Philly cheesesteak chicken. Chicken cheesesteak.
This shit fell out
Yeah.
like instantly.
Yeah, it's fucking. I'm like, I can't even put.
You have a loaf of bread, and they just slice a thin layer of the top off, and that's the top. And they put the sandwich on it, and they put the top back on it, and it's like this little sliver. You're like,
That's as close to anybody trying to reinvent the wheel as you'll ever come.
I mean, Wendy's made square hamburgers, but at least that fucking made sense. Like, I mean, it's different and cool, but
Yeah, because you could put it on. You could put it on white bread.
it's like, let me fuck up your sandwich.
It's like if you're not Subway because it's like a hoagie roll, and you go to places where there's like a diner where they serve sandwiches like on like 2 pieces of toast.
Yeah.
And instead of putting like the meat and stuff on the inside, they put it on the outside and the bread's on the inside. Like, why'd you do that? Well, that's how we make sandwiches here.
Yeah.
Like that was like the equivalent of Subway saying, "That's how we cut the bread here."
That's how we fuck you. I mean, that's how we cut the bread
Like
here.
that's how we cut the bread here.
That's how we make money
Want to
here.
make something of it? Like that's how we do it here.
That's why we only charge $3. Now
why-
we charge you $6.
Yeah, because
we're
we
doing
cut
it
the
the
bread
right
right.
way.
Oh my god.
There's a tagline
It's like
for you.
have it like I'm thinking of like Burger
Have it your
King.
way, but more expensive.
Yeah. It's like Burger King is like have it your way.
Right.
And then like Subway would be like Subway, you're having it my way. which my way means I'm going to cut a triangle out of the top of your bread and try to convince you that this is everybody in 5 years everybody's going to cut their bread like this.
Do you remember that Seinfeld with the Snickers bar?
No.
And like so like I think the Elaine was working for this old man, and she gave him like a Snickers bar or something like that, and he started. I think he cut it like with the knife, and then I think Elaine did it, and then like everyone saw them do it, and pretty soon like everywhere you went, people were like cutting a Snickers bar and eating it with a fork. I was like, what the fuck? I think Subway was really trying to have that little sliver catch on. It's like, this is the way to make sandwiches, really.
Yeah.
This is the cool way to do it. No, dude, it wasn't fucking cool. You had 2 bites and that sliver was gone, and your food was falling out.
You know what would really impress me if they fucking cut the bread like you're making a fucking eclair and then shove the meat in that way.
Like they rolled up all your shit and they shoved it in there.
That would be fucking awesome because that would mean nothing would fall out.
That would be nothing. And I would be like, respect, dude.
And I would have never stopped eating at Subway.
Yeah, like I can't do that.
It's like two different sales meetings, right? One guy's like, I got a great idea. Let's just cut the top off the bread. The fuck are we gonna do that for, Jerry? I'm now saying that the guy who came up with this name is Jerry.
Jerry, you
The fuck are we gonna do that, Jerry? For? He's like, well, I think it'll catch on. Why? Because nobody's doing it.
It's a good idea.
Or the other meeting was like, I got an idea. Let's drill a fucking hole through the middle of this goddamn bread, roll this shit up like toilet paper, and shove it through the sandwich. Nothing will ever fall out. Todd, now that's a fucking good idea.
Good
Jerry,
idea.
fucking listen to Todd. Your stupid cutting bread idea. Listen to Todd, Jerry. You're fucking fired.
Well, what do we do at the middle of the bread pieces? I don't know.
We'll make croutons out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Call it.
Oh no!
Call in the cleaner.
We'll rebake them and like we'll sell them as like
croissant
pretzels,
baguettes.
Packets the size of like a fucking marker.
Yeah.
Uh,
How do they know? Also, like whenever you order a sandwich, they take, I mean, they just grab shit and put it on there. I'm like, is there like a method there? Because sometimes it's
There
more,
is now.
sometimes it's less.
There is now.
They put lettuce in there, and I'm like, that's not enough lettuce, dude. You need to put a little bit more. And they look at you like,
They look at you like, hey, I'm gonna fucking cut your bread the old way if you don't knock it the fuck up.
I'm getting paid $7 an hour, asshole. Leave me alone.
It's almost like nobody talks about Subway's like soared past with that fucking bread cutting incident.
We talked about it ad nauseum for like 15 minutes.
I just said soared past about their bread cutting. Meanwhile, Jared just happened.
Oh my God, that is like a thorn in their ass, man. That, I mean, what do you? I don't know. I guess right after that, you're like, hey, all our sandwiches are half off. We're gonna make them less look like dicks.
Yeah, like seriously, like they go from the bread cutting thing to Jared. I mean, are you trying to go? Like, are you trying to fucking close your business down?
You know, I remember seeing that guy at the time, and he was talking about how that's all he ate was with the sandwiches all the time, and that's why he lost all the weight. And then Saturday Night Live did this sketch with Jimmy Fallon, and it's called Sub Shack. He's all, come to Sub Shack, and he's playing Jared, but he's like ultra fat again. He's like, I went to Sub Shack to put some weight back on, and he's like completely huge, and like you see the kind of, they're slapping like just gobs of mayonnaise and like all this shit on there. It's like a huge sandwich.
You couldn't do that to the way Subway used to cut their sandwiches.
No. You can barely. I think that's a money making thing. You take a little sliver off. You can't put as much food in there, and it fucking falls out. It was so annoying. You know, it's like giving you a pizza with barely any cheese on it or something like that, and you take one bite and the whole cheese comes off.
I give you the pizza, but then before I hand you the pizza in the box, I flip it upside down and then I give it to you.
I rip the top layer off.
Yeah, all the cheese gets stuck to the fucking cardboard.
And turn it upside down and shake it.
And then you're just left with like bread with tomato sauce on it.
Pizza our way.
That's how Pizza Hut used to serve their pizzas.
Yeah, it comes with forks and spoons.
So Jerry's like, I got a great idea at Pizza Hut. He's like, before we give
guy's been fired from all these different fast food joints.
Fucking Jerry sucks at his job.
It's like
he's like, oh, I got a great idea. I'm gonna Pizza when we deliver the pizzas right before we give it to them, we'll flip it upside down so the cheese sticks to the cardboard.
And we give him forks and spoons. So here you go.
And we just high five him on the way out.
Yeah, high five the pizza board. So there you go.
Why are we going to do that, Jerry?
You're fucking fired. And then he goes over to McDonald's, and they're like, hey,
what do they create that's really bad?
I don't know. He's probably the McRib inventor or something.
Oh, the McRib.
You know that every time the McRib comes out, people flock to McDonald's.
Yeah,
They're like, "Oh my, it's not even real ribs, folks.
No.
It's like fucking."
It's literally in a mold to make it look like ribs. Because like if you actually bite into ribs like that, there's bones supposed to be there.
It's like a gelatinous.
That's how stupid McDonald's thinks their consumers are. It's like, well, if you're gonna have a McRib sandwich, you would have like riblet cuts or whatever, No, we'll just put them in a mold. But Jerry, won't people think that it's a not real rib meat? Jerry's now at McDonald's.
Yeah. It's their job.
But this one stuck.
This one stuck for a while, yeah.
It's still sticking. Because it's literally like
it looks like
because like a hamburger, right? Hamburger is like, you're going to get it round. So it doesn't you don't think it's something different.
Right.
Even though it's not like grade A beef, It's still like the shape that it's supposed to be in.
Right.
The McRib is in a shape like there should be bones inside of it.
Right. It's like a Play-Doh
but there's
mold.
no bones. And they're just like, 100% pork. You're like, no, it's not.
Like Jerry was at home with his kid. His kid's playing with Play-Doh and putting in this mold. And he's like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's just put the gelatinous.
First, Jerry's like, Jerry Jr., that does not. He's like, Jerry Jr., if you show me a fucking car that looks like that, I'll give you $1,000. And And then he's like, "Oh, look, that kind of looks like ribs."
You just pour it in there, and then there you go. It hardens, and there's your ribs.
And then what is
Good
it?
job, Jerry.
You get like the shitty barbecue sauce that's from probably the packets of McNugget barbecue sauce,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then there's like 2 pickles and like 2 pieces of onion.
Yeah, people go ape shit. People go ape shit over that. Or like,
dude, we just went on a 20-minute rant about fast food. We were talking about Austin Powers.
Fucking Jerry. We got to talk more about Jerry.
That should be a movie.
Ascension.
They just made the founder.
Yeah, the founder. Just call it Jerry. Jerry had his great ideas through fast food time.
Where were we on Austin Powers?
Oh, fuck. I don't fucking know, man.
So in closing, Austin Powers is funny.
Go to Subway. Yeah. We don't cut the bread like that anymore. Come to Jared who? We got him, folks. We put him in jail. We got him off the street for you. That was our ploy. We hired him and then caught him and threw him in jail. Oh my God, that's hysterical. Go see Austin Powers. No, but this is going to be an ongoing segment called "Chew on This Reminisces," and so
about fast food.
about fast food. Reminisces, and we'll choose, periodically movies from here and there. If you guys out there, our whole 2 or 3 listeners, want us to reminisce on a movie.
If you stuck with us to that whole fast food thing, bless you, because I wouldn't have done it.
Right?
Like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Who the fuck is Jerry?
Oh, God. There was a time in 1999 where I went to so many fast food restaurants because George Lucas... I got to make it nerdy again, guys. I'm sorry. But George Lucas signed $1 billion, deal with Pepsi, and Pepsi owns, Pizza Hut and I think KFC. I don't remember. It was a bunch of different ones. Bunch of different conglomerates, Doritos. I mean, they own all that shit. And Phantom Menace came out with these cups. It was like a cup, and then the top of the cup would be the character, and they were exclusive to different restaurants. So you had to go to Pizza Hut to get Anakin or Sebulba or some shit like that. And I remember, because I was a huge Star Wars nerd, and the merchandise was just going out all over the place. I remember I had to go to all those places. I got every single one of those fuckers. Every single one. And then it ended up consequently selling them later on. I think I kept Darth Maul and some other one, but I don't even know why I talked about that. I think because the toys are kind of a joke when it comes to fast food stuff. But anyway.
Austin Powers.
I did have, McFarlane Toys. They signed on with McFarlane Toys for Austin Powers 2. And I had all those. I had all those figures.
McFarlane toys are always really good, though.
Yeah, and then the third one signed on with this.
They're not really toys, though.
No, they're more like
models,
like collector items and stuff like that. But anyway, so this is an ongoing segment. Chew on This Reminisces in this particular episode. The very first one is Chew on This Reminisces on Austin Powers. So anyway. That was Chew on This Reminisces and Reminisces on Subway, cutting the bread. Now, this is Chew on This Reminisces. Until next time, folks, chew on that.
Later.